Spoiler alert. The following movie discussion may contain some minor spoilers. Watch out if you haven't seen these movies yet.
Welcome to the Panavox channel. I'm Eric.
And I'm Joe. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the 2009 film starring Will Ferrell called Land of the Lost. And if you remember the 1970s program, also called Land of the Lost, it was a TV series, had Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition, met the greatest earthquake ever known. So they were on this raft, and then it goes over this terrible waterfall, and they end up in the land of the lost. They go through some sort of a dimensional porthole of some kind to take them into another realm. Is it in the past? Is it in the future? Where is it? I mean, it's got dinosaurs in it and strange beings called slee stacks that go,
Yeah.
their big beady black eyes, and one slee stack who's kind of not a slee stack because he can talk, in his name is Enoch, and he talks to them and everything.
Is it underground? That's what I always wondered.
Yeah, maybe it's underground. Like
As they
maybe
go down with the waterfall, it's like
yeah.
I don't know, maybe they're just falling like off a high mountain or something. I don't know. I don't guess the land of Lost could exist underground.
Well, I think it's more complicated than that, because from the 1970s series, they used to meet with Enoch in that crystal room, where it was like this kind of building that had like these metal silver kind of geometric shape on the outside, kind of like a cone, but not a cone, but like a decahedron or something, some sort of a geometric figure. And then there was this black entrance there that you would walk through. You walk into there, and then you would see this table that had these shining stones on it, these gems.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
And then they would say, like, let's go in here and we move around some of these rocks, and that will allow us to do that, because Marshall kind of knew how to work the rocks a little bit, or he had kind of studied them and made some scientific hypotheses about what happens if you move this rock over here. And then but Enoch would come out and he would say, I got the rocks, I know how they work. I've been managing them for thousands of years. Actually, I will agree to move this rock here, which will do this. And, so it was kind of like he could move these rocks and he could change conditions within the environment. And then they were always pressuring Enoch to say, you know how to move the rocks to get us back to where we came from, so we can leave this place and we can, and there were some scenes where they kind of did some Star Trek stuff where Enoch mess with the rocks, and then they would be able to pass through a portal and end up in some other dimension, or there was like a sub-dimension of the mid-dimension where they were. You remember all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I do kind of remember the rocks. Yeah.
Yeah. So they
like
kind of
like a little control panel or something.
Yeah, exactly. So they had that kind of stuff in that original series. And the original series was done with dead seriousness. I think it was a Sid and Marty Krofft production. So, this is what I remember about Sid and Marty Krofft productions, is that they were creative and they were inspired, and there was a lot of work and thought that went into them. But there was also kind of a budget feel to them, because you kind of like got the feeling that they were trying to make more out of less. So know what I'm saying?
Yeah, look, they're floating on the raft, and it looks like the water just looks like a tiny little creek or something, like.
Yeah, like they made a model in a studio with
they made like the tiniest model possible or something.
Yeah, like a little thing that you like, a little toy, you like figurines, and you just have them on a little miniature raft going off this miniature waterfall.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not the most realistic special effects in the original show. That's for sure.
Guys, we only got about $350 for the waterfall. Okay, we got to make it work. You know, so
But I
that
like that kind of stuff. I
conversation.
like low budget, cheap effects. I enjoy that more than fancy CGI and like the way overblown, fancy kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I prefer the low budget kind of stuff.
I had a lot of respect for Land of the Lost. The props were low, very low budget. The scripts were, um, I mean, this is not Isaac Asimov. This is not like the highest level of science fiction writing here. But but the actors seem to take their roles very seriously. And as a kid, I was kind of like, they're taking it seriously. The actors are taking it seriously, so I'll take it seriously too. And I didn't really think about it as a kid. As an adult, I looked at it and I thought, man, it's like these actors must know this is actually scraping the bottom of the barrel here in terms of, production values. But they were taking their roles very seriously. It's kind of like, you
Yeah,
hired me, you're paying me to do this job. This is what you give me to read on the script.
that,
I'm gonna put my heart and soul
that's
into it.
that's what made it a good show. Is they had good stories and good actors. It's just like when you go see a play at the theater. The sets don't ever look. You'll have like a backdrop with like it's like a with a nice looking vista. That's supposed to look like you're outside or something, but you just have to suspend your disbelief. That's what people don't know how to do anymore, is suspend their disbelief. It's like they want everything to look 100% realistic, or they're not able to appreciate whatever it is. But it's like when you read a book, you have to use they're telling you what the story is, and you have to use your imagination to fill in the details of it. But I kind of think of the low budget productions as kind of similar to that, because you have to suspend your disbelief and allow your imagination to like fill in the whatever the missing details are. Anyway.
Yeah. And it worked, I think, as you said earlier, for the 1970s series for sure. It worked because of the earnestness of the actors, the way they took their role seriously. So there I was, a little kid looking at that, and I was like, as you say, suspending the disbelief, going along with the story. I remember the Sleestaks used to scare me. I mean, really, really scare
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were pretty scary.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree.
Because they had nets and they were like coming to get you, and
Yeah,
it's kind of like the thing was, you never heard about the Sleestaks actually hurting anybody, but they really wanted to grab the humans and throw them in prison. I think there was a time when the Sleestaks would get them, they would throw them in a jail. So it was kind of like you were in a Sleestak prison, and they couldn't communicate with you. They could just go, make those reptilian noises, and that was
yeah,
that was to me, that was the terror of it. You would be kidnapped by or detained by some sort of creature that you could never communicate with. That made it kind of like bugged me a lot. That's partly what scared me about them, was that they would get you and then they would never let you go and you could never communicate with them, you know. But anyway, getting so let's get to our 2009 film.
uh-huh.
So Will Ferrell, we're segueing into this topic here. Will Ferrell, I think he was the leader behind this whole initiative to make this film, and I think he took the seriousness of the earnestness of the actors, and he said, well, what if we all acted with that dead seriousness that they did in the Land of the Lost, and just put Marshall in these absolutely ridiculous situations, just over the top. So he took out the daughter and the son, and he brought in another character who's supposed to be like a lab assistant that believes in his cockamamie theories, and then he meets this amusement park owner that evidently has the way into the time portal or the wormhole or something, and they get it on this river of love or something that you're supposed to make out on some bargain bin, amusement park ride, and you're going through this tunnel, and they end up going through the dimension, and they end up in and so it kind of bears some similarity to the 1970 show, except it's probably, I think there's more money involved. I mean, he spent this is the difference now. He spent $100 million. That's what it says on Wikipedia, right? $100 million on this film. It only grossed about 69 million at the box office. So it lost like what, $31 million. So that's a bomb. Uh, and
Yeah.
and it's kind of ironic to me that he was making fun of Land of the Lost, but Land of the Lost was done on a shoestring budget, and
Yeah.
it probably made a lot of money. I
I
mean, at
think,
least
yeah, I think this Saturday morning TV show was pretty successful because it went on for several seasons. I don't remember how many seasons, but it seems like it was on for a while.
it didn't have to do that well, because if you think about it, if their production costs were so low, if they, brought in a certain Nielsen rating, even if it was relatively low, if their costs are so low, the studio's still making money off of it. I
Mhm.
imagine it was profitable.
Yeah.
But Land of the Lost with Will Ferrell was I mean, 31 million dollars down the toilet,
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of those remake type movies don't end up well. They're
Yeah.
I guess some of them are hits, but some are flops too.
That was a flop, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and this is the topic of our video here is that unpopular movies that we like. I like it. I've seen it a number of times. The first time I watched it, I was like, what is this? He's meeting Chaka, and the Chaka character that he meets is um, he's kind of risque. I won't go into any non-family
Oh,
friendly details about
yeah.
Chaka, but
Yeah.
let's just say that he's kind of pushing the R rating there with some of the stuff that he does, uh, kind of in a burlesque way. And then we have
Is it an R-rated movie?
I think it's PG, but I mean maybe
Oh,
PG 13 or
yeah.
something.
Sounds
Yeah,
more like PG-13.
yeah, it's a little bit on the edge there of an R rating because
Yeah.
Chaka's pretty
I
risque.
guess
Yeah.
I guess they had to spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, and some of
Or-
Will Ferrell's humor is kind of goes in that direction.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of scenes with the Slee Stack and with Enoch, and Enoch turns out to be, spoiler alert. Maybe we should have spoiler alert at the beginning with the things that you put up there.
Okay.
He's Enoch turns out to be the bad guy, which was the opposite. Although I think maybe with the original series they had Enoch kind of be the bad guy, but then he was a double agent and he was actually the good guy pretending to be the bad guy, but he was actually the good. Or I don't know if maybe they just had some fun with that in the writing. I don't know, but they make him the full-on villain in the remake movie, and the
Mhm.
Slee Stacks are actually good, so they kind of flip that
Oh,
on its head. Yeah,
oh wow.
yeah,
That's kind of interesting. What about Grumpy the dinosaur? Is he a good guy too?
yeah, so it turns out, this is another spoiler alert. It turns out that Grumpy was grumpy because he has intestinal blockage. So Dr. Marshall pole vaults up into the air and lands right into Grumpy's open mouth, goes into his stomach and pushes out the intestinal blockage. So he comes out of Grumpy's rear end in a big pile of poo, and they're like, "Oh my God, what happened to you? Are you okay? You're covered in excrement." And he goes, "Yes, I've freed up his intestinal blockage, and now he's eternally grateful to me." And Grumpy was like, "You're my master." So
Wow.
yeah, so I thought that was actually kind of cool, and in a gross,
So
gross way.
so they made friends with the grumpy. He wasn't
Made friends
trying
with
to
the
wasn't
Grumpy.
trying to eat him anymore.
That's right. If you can't
Okay.
remember who Grumpy was from the original series, it's like when they do the pause before the commercial break on the opening credits. He's the one who turns around, looks at you, and he goes, "Rah!" Yeah, we already went over that one in a previous video.
Yeah, we had another video.
The Grumpy
That
introduction.
was our second video about Land of the Lost.
Yeah, I just can't
I'm
stop
trying to
talking.
remember what the topic of that video was.
But yeah, it
Oh,
was
it was international. No, not. It was just Dinosaur Day. Is that what it was called?
that's what it was. It was Dinosaur
It
Day.
wasn't International Dinosaur Day. It was just Dinosaur Day.
Just Dinosaur Day. Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Yeah,
right.
y'all check out our Happy Dinosaur Day video
Yeah. Well,
if
I
you're
won't,
really really bored.
if you're really bored, but I won't say much more about Land of the Lost 2009 remake. I'll just say I like it. I think it's really funny. I think it's really ridiculous. I think the way that all of the characters take themselves very, very seriously is hilarious in the context of the film. You never see them laugh the entire film because it's
Oh,
like, yeah, it's because all of the humorous. And then my favorite line by the amusement park owner, I can't remember the name of the character, but he says he's getting ready to. Well, Doctor Marshall's getting ready to take on Grumpy, and he says, "I'm going to take him on. You got my back, friend." And he says, I love you like a brother. He says, "You've been my friend for a long time." He says, "But on this one, I'm going to pass." You know, you know, wish you luck, buddy. But it's funny. It's a funny speech. I like that. And I don't know. There's just a lot of things I like about the film. My daughters love it. They watch it several times. So
oh
it
wow.
must be something to it. So I think you can put it in your collection of DVDs, if you still have those, or Blu-rays or whatever, of films that people didn't like at the box office, but you like to watch at home. That might make your list. So give it a try if you haven't seen it. I highly recommend it. So that's it for Land of the Lost. And see you later. Talk to y'all later. Bye.